Today we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 perks in Fallout 4. Now, Fallout 4's perks are a little bit strange compared to the previous games. In Fallout 4, you can essentially get every perk in the game. So these are perks that are generally going to be better than some of your other choices. However, if you don't end up getting these right away, you can still get them later on into the game. That is kind of a problem I have with Fallout 4, is that builds don't really matter because they all basically become the same build at a certain point. But let's talk about these and which ones I would prioritize first. So coming in our number 10 spot, we have Penetrator. Penetrator is a level 9 perception perk. This one you can get 2 times. The first one is at any level, and the second one is at level 28. So you can actually max this one out pretty early on. And what Penetrator does is that there is no place to hide. As so long as you're entering vats, you can shoot a target through pretty much anything. Now, why is this one particularly good? Well, it's really strong against enemies that have power armor, because you can just ignore the power armor entirely, which makes it so what would be a potentially big threat is much less of a threat. This one is quite strong. It's also a pretty strong perk in that you can be pretty safe with it too whenever you go to use it. Now, even though I don't personally use VATS all that much, I can't really deny how good this particular perk is. It's a very strong perk, especially if you want to go with like a sniper build. It can be really, really good then. Coming in at number 9, we have a tie. This one is all of the crafting perks. So this would be gun nut, science, armor, blacksmith, and I guess to some extent local leader. All of these perks are good in their own ways, and generally you're going to want to take 1 or 2 of these depending on what you want to build. So each of these perks are on their own trees, and they can also be leveled up individually of one another, as well as they can work really well in combination. For upgrading things like power armor, you may end up needing armor plus science in order to do that. Science is generally for energy weapons, armor is for armor, blacksmith is for melee and unarmed, and then gun nut is for guns. Depending on what you want to be specialized with, at least in the early game, you're going to want to pick one of these so that you can have a little bit of an easier time, and so that you're not relying on enemies to have all of your potential upgrades that you need to keep swapping back and forth to weapons. Making your own upgrades makes it much, much easier. Coming in at number 8, we have Life Giver. This is a level 3 endurance perk that you can get at level 1, level 8, and level 20, so you can max this one out really fast too. What Life Giver does is you get plus 20 maximum health. This is at level 1 and level 2 of the perk. The main one that I would say is the big one here is at level 3, where you get another 20 health, which, I mean, having more health is always going to be good on any character just so that you don't die as fast. 20 health isn't a massive amount because your health does go up every time you level up, but it still helps. The main one is the 3rd rank of this, where you can just slowly start regenerating lost HP. This one can be particularly good on survival difficulty. If you're gaining healing, you also don't need to be going through your meds as fast, which can be very useful and makes it so you can use things like stim packs for just straight up money. If you combine this with another perk that lets you heal faster, like solar powered, then this one makes it so you can heal even quicker than that. And regenerating lost HP is really, really strong, especially into the later parts of the game where you're just regenerating it so fast that most of the time enemies can't really out-damage you. So a very strong perk into the late game, a pretty decent perk in the early game though. You might want to wait a few levels to actually put a lot of points into this. And speaking of solar powered, coming in at number 7, we have solar powered. Solar powered is the level 10 endurance perk. So this one has 3 ranks as well. One is available immediately, one is available at level 27, and the other one is at 50. And solar powered makes it so that you gain plus 2 strength and plus 2 endurance during the hours of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's perfectly fine. Having extra strength to carry around stuff and more endurance to have extra health is always a good thing. At least that's for the 1st rank. The 2nd rank makes it so when you're out in sunlight, this will heal up your radiation damage, which is actually really useful. In Fallout 4, the radiation damage, or the radiation that you get over time, can be a rather annoying thing. If you're playing on regular difficulty, then you have Radaway to take care of this, and it's not such a big deal. If you're playing on survival difficulty, I would say this one is a much bigger deal, since then you don't have to suffer from any of the immediate status effects from those things. And then the final rank of this makes it so that you regenerate health slowly. So again, if you combine this with the Life Giver perk, you can just regenerate over time, which is very, very handy in pretty much every situation. Coming in at number 6, we have Blitz. Blitz is a level 9 agility perk. This one has 2 ranks, one available right away, and the other one at 29. This one makes it so whenever you enter VATS, you can close the distance in VATS much, much faster with melee and unarmed weapons. This is really strong. This is particularly strong for melee and unarmed weapons who really like VATS and who want to get as close to the enemy as possible. So having a way to just skip ahead and jump that distance really helps you out. So Blitz is pretty much a staple perk on a melee and unarmed build. Coming in at number 5, we also kind of have a tie here, and this is all the damaging perks. So this one is really any damage type of perk because you're going to want to go with that depending on what build you're going for, unless you're going with a pacifist build. So this can be Rifleman, Commando, Heavy Gunner, Demo Expert, Big Leagues, Iron Fist, pretty much anything that gives you more damage. You're going to probably want to pick at least one of these, maybe two of these depending on what weapons you enjoy using, and then just kind of stick with that. You want to max these out. Each of these give you an increase in damage every time that you level them up, as well as they give you more bonuses on top of that. Usually giving you extra things like power attack damage bonuses, or disarming enemies, or more likely to cripple limbs and stuff like that. So these ones, be sure to pick one of these right away so that way you can max it out in time. If you like punching stuff, go with Iron Fist. If you like hitting stuff, go with Big Leagues. If you like blowing stuff up, Demo Expert. If you like big guns, Heavy Gunner, and sometimes also Demo Expert. If you like rifles, Rifleman. If you like fully automatic guns, then Commando. And if you like pistols, then Gunslinger. You have plenty of options here, pick whatever you'd like. Also, some weapons fall into these categories, like shotguns fall into Rifleman, so be sure to take that if you like using shotguns. Even like the cut-down versions still count as rifles. Same thing goes with the cut-down hunting rifles. Coming in at number 4, we have Chemist. Chemist once again makes an appearance on these lists. Pretty much it shows up in every Fallout game. Chemist is a fantastic perk, especially in Fallout 4, where this one is the level 7 intelligence perk, available at level 1, level 16, level 32, and level 45. The first rank of this makes it so chems last 50% longer. That's really strong because chems generally boost your damage or boost your damage resistance quite a lot, especially in Fallout 4 where you can have some pretty crazy chems and mixed chems. The next upgrade makes it so they last twice as long, which is really good. The third is 150% and the fourth is 200%. So this makes it so your chems go even further than they already would. So if you take something like Psycho Jet where you get extra damage and you slow down time, you're probably going to be able to kill just about everything before time actually speeds up thanks to the advantage of Chemist. And the greatest part about this is that you can combine it with Chem Resistance, which is an endurance perk in level 4. That one makes it so that you can be completely immune to chems by the time you're hitting level 22. So as soon as you hit level 22, take all the chems that you would like. Chems are also a great way to make money, and generally a good way of getting chems is by killing various raiders, and an easy way to kill them is by taking the chems. So one of these kind of feeds into the next, and then it feeds into the next, and then it feeds into the next, and it just ends up being really strong on pretty much any build that you want to be running this on. Coming in at number 3, we have Lone Wanderer. This is the level 3 Charisma perk, and this one has 4 ranks, at least if you have the Far Harbor DLC, otherwise it only has 3. And what this one does is, so long as you're not with a companion, you can carry more weight, you take less damage, and you deal more damage. Those are all really good things. Also, this doesn't work with Dogmeat. Dogmeat does not count as a companion, so you can have Dogmeat with you if you'd like. So if your favorite companion is Dogmeat, you actually don't suffer anything from this. If you don't use companions, this is just a straight bonus. The carry weight can be increased at 50 and then 100, so 100 more weight you can carry around is really good. The damage resist is 15% and then 30%. Having passive damage resist is really good for everything. And then the higher ranked ones give you 25% more damage when you're without a companion, which is a huge bonus in damage to every kind of weapon. And then the last one makes it so that you have more action points. The last perk in this one is not as useful. Action points are still very good, especially if you're going with a VATS build. They can also be useful outside of a VATS build because it also dictates how much you can run, which, I mean, that's always a good thing. So feel free to take that just for that bonus. And there are going to be times when you probably don't want a companion around with you at all times, especially if you just want to be swapping off of companions so that you can get through their quests and stuff, or if you're just going through the main story and getting different companions at different times. For number 2, we have Ninja. Ninja is kind of an overpowered skill in my opinion. This is a level 7 agility perk. This one you can get at level 1, level 16, and level 33, so you don't even need to be very high level to get this. And what this one does is whenever you're sneaking and you hit a crit, this gives you more damage than you otherwise would. This is 2.5 times extra damage on guns, 4 times extra damage on melee and unarmed, and then for the next rank, it's 3 times damage with guns and 5 times damage with melee and unarmed. And then on the last rank, it's 3.5 times more damage with guns and 10 times normal damage with melee and unarmed. That is really strong. Even more so if you want to max out sneak early on. Technically, you can actually max out ninja before you max out sneak, funny enough. And that will make it so that you can just sneak right up next to somebody. If you're using melee, you take sneak, you take blitz, and you take ninja, and then you just get within range. You immediately go into VATS, and you can just blink right to somebody and execute them. That's really, really strong. You can do that with basically any weapon. The perks with melee and unarmed can be kind of insane. It's also really good at range with a gun, even more so if you get a gun with something like instigating, where you deal double damage on the first hit anyway, and then that damage is multiplied up to 3.5 times more damage. So yeah, you can one-shot a lot of stuff, especially if you end up getting like a 2-shot or an instigating Gauss rifle. That's basically a one-shot for everything in the game. Oh, and you can still combine that with better crits too, so you get even more crits on top of that. Because why not? That's not our number 1 perk though. Our number 1 perk is going to be Idiot Savant. This is the level 5 luck perk, and this one you can get 3 ranks of, at level 1, level 11, and level 34. And Idiot Savant just makes it so that you can speed the game up quite a bit and so that you can get your full build out much faster. So it's just a very good perk to get early on. What Idiot Savant does is that whenever you get experience from any source, this can be completing a quest, this can be killing something, this can be building something, this can be making chems, it can be making various upgrades for weapons, it can be for anything. Anything that you get experience for has a chance of triggering Idiot Savant. And whenever you trigger Idiot Savant, you get 3 times the amount of XP that you otherwise would get, at least in rank 1. In rank 2, it goes up to 5 times extra XP every time that you trigger it, which is really good. And at the final rank, whenever you kill an enemy, there's a chance of it just triggering, and then it can linger for a while, so you'll get more XP within that time, which is also 3 times. That's really good, especially in a game like this where you can just keep leveling up. Normally, in the other Fallout games, I would say any of the XP perks are basically worthless. They don't really help you out that much. I've had multiple videos talking about them being some of the worst perks. Things like Swift Learner, Here and Now, Lessons Learned, there's quite a few other ones there. I think that they're some of the worst perks in those games because you have a level limit. Once you hit that level limit, you can't go above it. So getting any more XP won't matter, and the amount of XP that those ones gave you were incredibly low, so you just didn't really rack up that much XP anyway. It wasn't going to make a huge difference going from level to level. In Fallout 4, Idiot Savant can make a massive difference. Getting 5 times the amount of XP that you otherwise would, especially for doing something like turning in a quest, where they can be worth a ton, yeah, you can actually make a sizable difference and get multiple levels off of that, especially into the early game, which is very strong. This also is more likely to trigger the lower your intelligence is. Since intelligence also dictates how much XP that you get, you would think maybe you would want to go with low intelligence, but that's not really how the math works out. Generally, having more intelligence and getting Idiot Savant is the better way to go, because you're going to be getting more XP normally. And then whenever this does trigger, even though it's more rare to trigger, you're going to be getting substantial boosts in that XP gain. So Idiot Savant becomes very handy, and it makes it so that you can level it up. It also only requires 3 levels to actually max it out. So once you have this maxed out, or even once you just put 1 point into this, it's going to be rewarding you back immensely every time that you do level up and every time that you just get more perks. It makes it so your build fills out even faster than it already would. And that's why I pick Idiot Savant for being the top perk in this game. There are actually a lot of good perks in Fallout 4, so tell me your top 10 down in the comments below. I'd be really interested in hearing that. And I'll probably be doing a top 10 worst real soon too. So thank you guys so very much for watching this. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.